We're here with James Robinson from RRE Ventures at CoinSummit. So what brings you to CoinSummit, Jim?
Well, a couple of different things. One is we've got several investments in the Bitcoin space. A couple of them are here. We've been looking at digital currencies off and on for 15 years, but I've only in the last year made investments in that area. So we're here to learn everything we can and to see friends that are talking about different aspects of the digital currency spectrum.
Excellent. How much do you have set aside for digital currencies investments with this fund?
So, we raise broad funds every few years, and most funds are about $250 million, about 250 million, 300 million. We never have a specific set aside for any one area, but the reality is that, this is an area that I'm spending full time on now and have been for about a quarter or so. We've made 3 early stage investments. My guess is when all is said and done, it could be upwards of 20 or 30 million bucks. So for years we've invested in companies that were trying to take a lot of the costs out of financial transactions. And so if you think about that, the early days, that was in how do you build an interchange that isn't, the cards in your wallet charge you 2 to 250 basis points. That's true today. It was true 15, 20 years ago. The reason that's true has nothing to do with economics. The fact is they can operate end-to-end interchange systems that cost them 50 basis points, and even with a decent margin, even taking into account things like line item fraud, maybe 60 or 65, but they don't. You still pay 250 basis points. You got an oligopoly that has no incentive to reduce the frictional cost there because it's a good profit margin.
Right, and the poorest people pay the most.
Poorest people pay the most. That's exactly how the FICO score system works. So a lot of the investments that we do are aimed at not using the basic FICO model, and we're in the lending business, we're in financial services businesses, in several ways doing that, alternatives to that model. But also, we've invested in things like Revolution Money and in Boom Financial and in SmartPay over in China, all of which were companies whose goal was to reduce the frictional costs associated with financial transactions.
Right.
Digital currencies, just the latest iteration of that, but it allows the basis point count to go down to nearly 0.
You target international remittance a lot as well. We're talking about a $500 billion a year business with an average fee of around 10%. I mean, it's just insane. It seems like it's just ripe for disruption.
So I'm in the business of international remittance. I'm not in a digital currency company today, but in Boom Financial. We operated both in Mexico and Latin America and also in the Caribbean. And yes, we're at roughly 40% of the costs of the incumbents in that world, which are the Western Unions of the world, which have amazingly high fee structures even today. And by the way, high fee structures and incredible inconvenience in utilization. So it's not just that you're paying a lot for it, you're paying a lot for it to have to walk God knows how far on this end and take a bus on the other end for whichever relative or friend you sent money to for them to get it. Right. So we do that today, and again, digital currency is just one more vehicle for doing that. And instead of the 16 to 18 points that the incumbents charge, or the half that we charge in our extant company, it can go down to, again, what's the charge? 20 basis points, 40 basis points, approaching 2, 5, 10.
Cool. Good talking with you, Jim.
Hey,
appreciate it.
Enjoyed it.
Thanks.
Absolutely.